Why do you think that at one point there was such a huge spotlight on Houston? Because, there was you, Slim Thug, Paul Wall, Chameleonaire, Pimp C Gets Out and it's crazy. Bun B was holding it down the whole time. It was like everything coming out of Houston was what people were fucking with, and people were slowing down their vocals and so forth, to sound like what y'all was doing. But then at one point, the spotlight kind of moved away. It seemed like there a whole bunch of internal beefs happened. A bunch of people start fighting with each other, and then at one point, the hip hop spotlight went to another city.
Right. Well,
why do you think that happened?
Well, I mean,
because for example, let me just state this before I go on. Like for example, Atlanta has never had that sort of up and down. Like when Atlanta started to get hot, I feel like they've kind of held on to it. Like Atlanta is still a big hip hop hotspot in terms of producing music that's hitting nationwide. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure that the scene in Houston is dope internally for the Houston artists. I know Houston still fucks with Houston, but you don't see a lot of Houston artists getting out of Houston anymore.
Sometimes being in a market where you can eat so good can make you lazy. You can get lazy, or you can get stagnant, or you can get comfortable. You know what I mean? And then sometimes, you got some people that don't treat music like it's everything. Like me, I love music. Music is a part of my life. You know what I'm saying? But music is not my whole life. So it's like I don't spend all my day, doing music. And, I know at the time when like everybody was getting their deals, like how labels are. If they get one artist, like I came out first and pushed the wave, of course, after Scarface and the Ghetto Boys. But I'm saying like as far as out of the Screwed Up Click and the Swisher House, the slow down type shit, like, like I was the first mainstream artist to get the major success. And you know how labels are. Okay, well, let's go find something that's like that, or let's go find the the rivals, or so they try to go find other shit that sounds like it, and find other people that are making legitimate noise, because Swisher House had their own movement. That's why I'm able to still be standing here talking to you, bro, because I got a chance to experience success from fucking with DJ Screw, and I got exposure by doing songs with the Swisher House. So I had the North Side, like I got North Side people that love me, South Side, I got every race. Mexicans love me. You know what I'm saying? Like every race. Asians love me. You know what I mean? Like they love me, and I don't alienate myself from different crowds and shit like that, man. But different people were doing different shit, man. And then eventually, we love our culture. I got on a swanger shirt right now, 84s, that's where we ride. We sip the drink and all that, but at the same time, some people, they get tired of hearing about candy paint and popping trunks. So, that's why when I do my albums, you know what I'm saying, I make sure I do my, my couple records for my core fan base that want to hear that shit. But my whole album is not going to be popping trunk and candy painting, so part of that I think that's part of the reason as well. It's only so many ways you can rap about pulling up. You know what I'm saying? What talk about some shit you went through. What happened when you woke up? Did your phone bill get cut off? Did somebody hit your car? That's what I like rapping about. Whatever the fuck I'm going through, that's what I'm a rap about. That's why I never run out of shit to rap about, because it's all what I'm going through. 98% of what I'm going through, 2% of what somebody else going through around me.
When you first heard A$AP Rocky and how they do the slow down kind of thing, how did you feel about it? Because clearly there is a screwed up, a screw music influence in that.
Right. Man, the crazy part about it, like I was hearing his name a lot. Like I was hearing people like, yo, man, it was like a lot of college kids, because I do a lot of frat shows. Like the frats, they love me. Like, I just did the campus for U of H. Like we just turned the fuck up. But like, bro, they were playing that shit. Like we was at one of the frat houses. They booked me for a show. We in Austin, and they playing this shit. I'm like, okay. I'm like, that shit dope. And then the dope part about it is that, some of the stuff, it was like a mesh between like screw shit and 3-6 type shit, you know, because he would rap like the double time flow and shit. When I heard it, I thought it was dope. You know what I'm saying? I asked where he was from, because I actually thought he was from, you know, Texas when I heard it, but it still was dope. I could still hear the New York in him too, you know, on some of his lyrics and shit. But I thought it was dope, man. And you know, I got a chance to meet him actually in Austin at the South by Southwest. A year after I heard his music, I met him in the club and shit. And he, you know, he showed respect and was like, man, I fuck with your music, man. And he asked me about one of my homies that he know, and he was like, man, I fuck with your music. And then the next thing I know, his next album come out, he shouted me out on the intro, you know. So yeah, so that's how shit works. Look how God work.
Yeah, that's what's up. I mean, you know, because sometimes people try to say like, nah, that's our shit. You know, our shit is different. But you know, it's dope when artists actually acknowledge where they got their stuff from and where they influenced it from. Because hip hop always got a weird kind of stigma about, you know, borrowing from your predecessors,
right.
which you have to do. I mean, you know, everything that we do is borrowed from someone else to
right.
a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? But it seemed like, you know, like for example, like with the Migos, there was that one issue at one point, you know, that kept getting, you know, brung up in interviews about how their flow is kind of like a 3-6 Mafia flow. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it was never really fully addressed.
Yeah, man. I think it's dope. Like, I don't know too many people, and I know it's some people that just make music only for their hood and they don't give a fuck if they get out or not. But coming into hip hop, what was instilled in me, I was taught that you want to make the best music as possible, be witty. You don't want to be a copycat, but it's cool to pay homage. You know what I'm saying? But you don't want to, you know, be a copycat. So it's like a thin line of being a copycat and being influenced by something. But if you make the type of music that you only like and that you grew up listening to, then so be it. You know, because some people like what they like. You know, if your mama, like for instance, my mom, she used to clean the house playing Kenny G. So I'm a little ass kid not knowing what the fuck this is. I'm like, Mama, when the words gonna come? She's like, no, he plays the saxophone. I'm like, okay. So I grew up jamming Kenny G and know all of his shit, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a hip hop guy. And 10 years later, guess who I meet at the American Music Awards? Backstage, I meet Kenny G. Meet him, I met his sons. He gave me his email and number and shit like that. So I think it's dope, man, when your music can be recorded in the studio 1,200 miles away in Texas, and it can migrate, whether it's through the internet or whether it's somebody buying a screw tape and bringing it way to New York, and then it goes to California. Like, I think that's dope, you know what I'm saying? And then at the same time, even if you make music or mimic other people's stuff, I still think it's dope to put some of you in it, you know? Pay homage and then still show them your style. So I think it's dope, man. I like that shit.
I'm not the back down type though, you know what I'm saying? Like, he started talking this shit. I was on an IO hook. He like, yo, you disrespecting Fetty. I'm like, so? One of them niggas smacked me with the gun from the back.
The challenges we face from Houston, from Texas, is in hip hop, man, ain't even worry about Slim G's, Iggy Azalea, man, ain't worry about none of that, man. We got our own world going on of things that's way more crucial to us and to our Texas hip hop culture